Hey everyone, it's Daniel here from Infovest. Hope you're all doing well. Let's talk about the markets, right? The equity markets. I mean, we've been seeing such a crazy rally in the S&P 500, in NASDAQ, started to see some strength in Dow Jones. I mean, you also start to hear a lot of the soft landing narrative, right, coming out from some traders out there, investors, even obviously from a lot of the media out there, right? And it makes you think, is it really a soft landing or is it something else, right? Because when you look at it, the institutions out there and you hear how they're investing, they're still very conservative, right? Meaning that, they're not massively long. There are a lot of institutions out there who, if they're long, they may have some positions here and there, but definitely they're not buying the high-flying stocks that are overly valued or overly priced. They're definitely taking a more conservative approach, right? And probably many of them also missed out on this massive rally that we saw in NASDAQ. So does that mean that, the retail people or the other people who went long, they're right? Or does that mean that the institutions are right? Who's right, who's wrong? Well, I want to bring one very interesting example. You could argue this as conspiracy theory, propaganda, etc., etc. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But I want to bring this interesting observation with you because, to me, it doesn't seem like it's not, propaganda or it's not one of those conspiracy theories. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about Bitcoin, right? Have you noticed that when Bitcoin rallied to around 69K, 70K, and Bitcoin sold off aggressively, we now all of a sudden hear BlackRock, Fidelity, many of these US companies come in, talk about filing an ETF, coming out and saying, hey, we want to get in the game. I mean, before all of this, right, the institutions were massively against Bitcoin. They were called all kinds of things, right? Even Warren Buffett said it, and I believe Warren Buffett has a position in a bank that, does crypto transactions. So it makes you think. Now, let's not focus on Warren Buffett here. What I want to focus more on is BlackRock, right? That is coming out and wanting to launch this Bitcoin ETF. And it's very likely that they will be the ones that get approved. Because for sure the SEC and the regulators out there, they do want to regulate crypto. They do want to regulate Bitcoin. And it's very interesting that before this BlackRock ETF happened, you had all of these kinds of scandals and mess ups, right? You heard about the FTX issue. I mean, what's happening there? That's completely gone silent, right? I mean, that completely, riled up things in the crypto markets. You hear about Binance in trouble, taking money here and there for their own trading activity. The SEC looking into Binance, the regulators as well, going after certain crypto banks going bust. And, you hear about, certain governments out there saying that, these crypto banks should not be there, etc., etc. So you had a bunch of these implosions, many of these crypto websites, etc., Voyager, right? Many of these implosions, these failed banks, these failed institutions, right? Crashing Bitcoin all the way down to around 15K. And then you hear BlackRock come out and say, let's launch a Bitcoin ETF. Let's launch it because we now believe in Bitcoin. After everything that has happened, right? After all the scandals and the frauds and blah, 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 and Bitcoin and the crypto markets getting this really bad rap, you got Blackstone, who manages trillions of dollars, the biggest asset management company out there, saying that, hey, we want to get involved. And many of these institutions were not pro-Bitcoin. And in fact, you hear later that many of these institutions while Bitcoin fell to 15K, they were accumulating Bitcoin, right? So it makes me think one thing when we look at the stock market today. Why am I bringing this news up front here today? It makes me think one thing. If the institutions are not in, right, they'll not let it go further, right? Again, could be propaganda, could be conspiracy theory, blah, blah, blah. Call it what you want, right? But I'm just laying out the events because they completely missed out 2016, 2017, right? 2018 when the Bitcoin bubble, or I think it was 2018, 2019 when the Bitcoin bubble finally bursted around 20K, came down to 3K. They're like, this is not going anywhere. Then they saw Bitcoin get to like 70K. It's like, oh shit. The next one's going to be up. I think there's something here. There's interest in crypto. We got to get in, but we can't. We can't buy at 70K. That would be suicide. Maybe there was something there that, they brought to the attention to the regulators and then caused this trickle effect and then, Bitcoin coming down. I can't verify that with you, but I can say one thing, that it's very interesting how these events happen, and then boom, you got this positive twist there. And then you got the halving coming next year, and BlackRock's getting the ETF ready. Fidelity wants to get in. Coinbase was under a lot of scrutiny as well by the SEC, but guess what? BlackRock brought them along and saying, hey, Coinbase is going to be the custodian. And now everybody's all friends. Now we're just waiting for the SEC to approve this Bitcoin ETF, right? Which I think it's going to happen. It's definitely going to happen, especially because it's BlackRock. So it makes me think, right, when I relate this with the current stock market rally, if the institutions are not on this rally, right, or they use this rally to actually exit, what makes you think that they're going to allow this and have this continue on? What makes you think they're going to allow Nvidia to continue, for Tesla to continue to move up, or Meta to, or let's take Meta as an example, right? To continue higher if they're not massively long these names. They missed out. Makes me think, just like the whole Bitcoin thing, they can do the same thing with the equity markets. Create some sort of fear, or use that rally to exit and have the cash ready to buy the dip. And you heard stories. I covered a video on this previously where I think it was Blackstone or maybe BlackRock that created a fund and raised capital because they were getting ready to buy some good deals in the markets. I think it was Blackstone when it comes to the housing market, right? And their funds were already in trouble, right? They halted withdrawals because there was panic last year. Now they got this cash money ready that if there is a downturn next year, or this year or next year, they're ready to load up, right? Just like how Bitcoin sold off and then BlackRock came out as a hero saying, hey, we want to file this ETF. I don't know. Could be propaganda, could be all just conspiracy theory. You let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment below, subscribe, hit the like button, bell icon to be notified on the next video, and I'll see you guys around. Cheers. Bye.